have wet food for him up on the thing. That'll work. Yeah, it's on the table. Okay. Hi, Karen. So we're like, I was doing really good keeping up with the time, like while we were there. And then, you know, you get into like, talking about like people that you've run into in town that you haven't seen in a while, and not me so much, but you know, Sean. And then we lost track of time, but it was super cool that y'all were worried about us. We had stew. You probably could have gone your whole life without knowing that. But we had stew. Do you want that one? Look, you've even got your shoes on. You got
Andy said I'm ready to take on the town.
We came home and he changed his shirt into a flannel, and then he puts jeans on, and a whole manner of things. Okay. Super red lipstick. Is that okay? I'm gonna be a nightingale.
I'm a whore.
You are a whore. You're my whore.
Okay.
So for those of you who were oh my God.
Did you see him go after her?
Yeah, he needs to go to his room. Or I need to let her out just for a little while.
Okay.
Hold on. Slight skirmish with the cats.
Cats are fighting.
Because
Guess what, everybody? I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
yeah, baby.
So,
Eleanor, stay by us, and
did he go after her?
that's what it looked like, yeah. Scout's past his bedtime, so if I put him in there now and he hears us, he'll be meowing, so we'll just make do.
It gets a little crazy here.
It's
From a while.
So I missed Date Me or Not. That's always a good shit show. Anything happened during Date Me or Not? Did she find Prince Charming?
Time for me to get a haircut too.
No, well, maybe, but how come? Hey, Trash Raven. I'm trying to see if everybody. Hello, George. Was it a shit show, Karen? Tell me, what was the highlight of it? Did anybody get drunk and cry? That's always usually the end to the evening, is the crying for the women around the world. And Sean's evil doings.
Jim and Mary say, "What's up, Beast?
She haven't heard from you. Bitch, you don't write, you don't send Christmas cards, you don't send nothing. Rude."
It's rude.
So rude.
You went from being our daughter-in-law to just not talking to us at all. Well, we got a better daughter-in-law.
They said they gave you the best years of their life, and you just, yeah, they did say that. They do like me. I like my in-laws. I took them fresh eggs.
Yeah.
And they knew I locked myself out because I was in Paula's chat, and I was like, well, I'll be here for a few more minutes. I locked. You know when you make that last trip into the house, right, Pink Life? That gets illustrated on the daily. But you're taking stuff, and you're kind of in your thank you. Oh, you're so sweet, Hazel. That you're kind of like in your mom mode where you're getting everything together, and then you make that last trip out of the house, right? When you get everything. Well, I did get out with everything but the keys. Is he being mean?
No, I just threw a shoe at him.
Not at him.
I did.
Oh, on the box.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not. And he's like,
he's probably gonna come shit.
It's ricocheting off the box.
He's gonna go poop in our bed now.
He
was being mean to Ellie.
He wants to go to bed, but they're gonna think you legit threw a shoe at him. He was throwing it off the U-Haul box.
I'm like Herschel Walker.
Look, Sawyer would like you to see his baby. This is his baby from Tractor Supply.
This is his new toy right here.
Actually, it's not that new. He just doesn't tear it apart because it's his baby.
Yeah. Hey, Soy Brown.
Always fur baby drama. My father-in-law is hilarious because he's this, like, retired, like he's this old Marine. But when he sees, he's all rough and whatever, but when he sees he loves the videos of our chickens. And the one where the little white one was walking around bitching this morning.
Yeah.
He thought that one was, that was cool. He could sometimes, that little white one will be bitching out here. I'll have the bedroom window open.
Yeah.
He'll be bitching out there and you can hear him all the way from I'm sure Tiny's like, that's going to get us caught real quick.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Day 5 in the incubator, didn't we?
That's it.
Yeah, man, that's good. Time flies when you're having fun. It's
know,
about 24, about almost 25% of the time.
You think so?
Yeah. 2 weeks from Monday.
I was asking him like what happens if they hatch and we're not here? Like, not that we're going to be out of town or anything, but when they hatch, what do you have to have in there?
Right.
And
It's sometimes when they start to hatch, you'll see them poke, and it might take them an hour or two to get out. They don't.
They
just
peck their way out.
They peck their way out. Yeah.
And
sometimes
is the yolk still there? I
No,
mean, not the yellow part, but the
no. It's a full bird in there for a couple days until it comes out, and then sometimes like you may have to help them the last part of the way if they're like kind of weak. But those typically, if a bird can't get itself out of its shell, it's probably not going to make it. So, anyways,
hopefully they're like we were saying yesterday. The silkies are bantam silkies. They're smaller ones. Aussie was a bigger one, but these two are the.
I was trying to figure out. So they must have had the people that we got them from. Must have had. I didn't notice any smaller ones in their pen, but
it does seem like maybe when she was telling us about that last.
She said bantams.
Yeah, and I thought I didn't know bantam was like a size thing. I thought it was like a coloring thing.
I did too. I thought it was a breed. It's just a smaller version because the brown ones, the couple of the light brown ones, they were. I know. Are they winning or losing?
The Mavericks won.
It's over?
That's what it said.
God damn it.
It's good to see you, Hazel. I haven't seen you in here in a while.
Let me see what I got going on here. If the Mavericks beat the Nuggets, that's good. Hey, Hazel.
Those of you who saw Gabby's wedding pictures that she sent me today, she said I could post them because she knows you guys are supporters of hers and the new Mr.
Wow, they beat the hell out of them, man. Damn.
Trisha Paytas is like, she's the first one that I saw do the like black wedding dress, and now Gabby's looked like it was an onyx color, I think, and that's like the new thing, and it's kind of pretty.
Luka had 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists.
Y'all be sure and tell Brian.
That's called a triple-double.
No, it's not called that.
It isn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
But y'all be sure and tell her congratulations under my comments, and then she'll see it or whatever. But she got married in Sneed's Ferry, which is hilarious. That was hey Street Mom, that was the I didn't have any idea that's where they were getting married. I have taken a break from YouTube. I've been busy with the grandbaby. Well, good for you. That's what it's all about. I take a Twitter break every once in a while. Then I pop back in.
And then she realizes that I've been made a tweet about her.
It's okay. It's okay. There's a lid on it. No, it's okay.
I make a tweet about her and she sees it a week later. And
I'm always in trouble. People will be like, I tagged you in this picture or this tweet or whatever. But Sean's, he's so, you know how he's rarely that active on Twitter. So when he leaves it, I'd like to see it. Hey, Colleen. Nelson, hello. He's, when he posts something, I like to catch it, like right when he does it. He is a silent lurker.
Who is me?
Yes.
I do lurk. I lurk a lot.
He keeps up with everything.
The thing is I used to, here's the deal. Like when you go into chats, and a lot of you know this because every once in a while you guys will comment and we know who you are, but you haven't commented in a while. But if you like just go into a stream, like we can see the numbers. We can see like 35 people are in here right now, but we don't know who the 35 people are.
It could be anybody.
So sometimes like if you say something and people know that you're in the chat, they kind of watch some of the things that they say, but if you like lurk in a chat and people are just talking about whatever, they don't know you're there. You'd be surprised sometimes about what people say in chat.
That's true.
You know, so I am a lurker.
But not really in live streams, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Like if there was somebody that we weren't quite sure how they felt about something, but they knew we were associated with it. Like if we knew somebody was talking about Karen or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And we're lurking and they know that we're friends. They might not say the same things.
I see.
But if you're in there and they're talking whatever they're talking about and they don't know you're there, they're going to say whatever.
Makes sense.
That's
Who's
why I
talking
lurk
shit
a
about
lot.
Karen? I'll whoop their
Nobody.
ass.
I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just
just saying but that's why I lurk in some of the things.
Yeah, I like lurking, but then I like every once in a while dropping, like saying something in there, like just to test the water of how the person feels about me. Mm-hmm. Because this is going to surprise you guys.
True.
But a lot of people don't like me.
I don't believe that. I think like as a whole in the DC, most people did like you. There were pockets of people that didn't like you, but
Sometimes I feel like, and not so much recently, but my bad behavior was kind of held up to scrutiny because of that I was in recovery and I talked about it. Like if I was a good, positive person in recovery, I wouldn't be talking shit. I would, you know, and I'm like, no, we talk shit.
yeah, I mean,
But-
it doesn't change the kind of person you are just because you're sober.
Yeah, but then like when people like call people junkies and stuff like that, then they used to call me out on it and say, "Are you not going to say anything about that?" And I'm like, "It's a word."
Yeah, you know, but the thing is like one of the things that I've noticed about, first of all, like it's like if you're just out there and you're trying to think about the perfect dream girl, you don't take into consideration whether they're in recovery or not. You know, it was weird because I didn't think that, you know, I didn't know that the love of my life was going to be in recovery. I didn't know that. But so I understand where people might be coming with that angle, like you shouldn't do that, or you should, or you're like some kind of guardian.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
because
true.
and that's not true.
No.
That's not true. You're responsible for yourself. And, you know, and then whatever you feel like you want to help out with, like, I mean, you've taught me that the responsibility is to do the next right thing.
Yeah.
You know, to do that. But you're not required to save the world.
No, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and that's often, hey, a little bit, that's often been said too about where does your responsibility lie?
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance,
Hey, little
someone that I have not on the best terms, like let's say Katie called me and said, I want to get better. I want to get help. Being in recovery, do I have to extend that hand no, I don't.
Right.
I don't.
And the only reason I said
Danny.
that for the last couple minutes is it's just an observation from somebody that's not in recovery.
Right. No, but I
And-
just meant like, that's what I meant though. I meant like, when you look at it, because if you know, in AA, it's like you say that whenever anyone anywhere reaches out, you want the hand of AA to be there. So where does that boundary end? What if the beast was like,
That's an
I need
interesting
help.
question.
I want help. How do I do this thing?
That's an interesting.
You know what I would
yeah.
say? Let me get the number of someone who can help.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I would do.
But see, that's doing the next right thing, though.
Right. Would I be the one to say, well, here's a meeting in your area? Hell no. But
Yeah.
I would say, let me get a phone number for you. And I would give her the intergroup phone number for the greater Jacksonville area. That was an in-depth discussion. Now he's throwing socks at Storm. Storm's like,
Look, she's like, oh, now I'm not throwing anything. She's still like looking around and doing all the.
the first time Sean does like noises, like I was never the type that would, like when the cats would be studying something and you'd go psst, like that, and then but Sean would do it when we first, my cats weren't
And as
used
a
to that.
result, the cats weren't used to people doing
They
that.
weren't. So one day Sean did a monster noise.
I went, the first time.
You
I
should
was
have seen stuff.
I went like this. I went like that.
And they went, whoop.
They jumped up in the air and ran into each other.
But the next time he did a monster noise, and you should have seen Storm. She was like, she didn't know what to do. And after that, I was like,
Right,
my
Stormy?
cats aren't used to that. Don't
Stormy.
do that to my cats. But yeah, that was kind of the responsibility statement. You used to be a guardian, Sean, but now you're yourself. Yeah.
That's kind of true. That's
Yeah.
kind of like and you know what? What I've learned about that is that, first of all, I learned a lot about mental illness. You can't fix people, and you can try to love, but when you find you can love, but when you find somebody that loves you back and is in love with you, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's people say love is hard. The love part of it isn't hard. That's what makes everything else that's hard to do, you're able to do, because the love part of it is easy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
very, very, I totally agree with that.
And it's a struggle when you don't understand it. And that's my own choices, what I made. But when you go into something just basically on being a good dude or being a man of your word, that's not enough.
No.
It's not enough.
No, it's.
I mean, Mandi asks me from time to time, we're talking about, 'cause she knows me, and she knows me pretty well, and she knows me deeply. And she says, you just must have been a man of your word to stick around as long as you did. You must have just been.
That's what I always said about him from the time he hit the scene. I said, Sean's guilty of honoring his vows, and what people think of that is, what they think of that. But he is the man that I said, I think he said till death do us part. And he's like, okay, this is my lot in life. But then, and I did say this, I would be like, you can't keep doing this. Everybody was saying
Everybody
I
would
was like,
say
Sean,
that.
it's literally going to kill
people
you.
People that don't like me today,
the color was completely out of his face. He was constantly looking like he was half sick. I didn't know you were stoned. I had no idea, because I didn't know that's what it looked like. But I was like, we're all watching you, like, just kind of cease to
there's
exist.
people that don't like me now, or just chose to be, I won't say flip-flop, but they just kind of migrated to other, with other people, and they have a comment, that's not very becoming now, but they were all telling me that back then. And if I was to put them on the spot and put them on a panel and say, you can say whatever you want about anything, but you were the one of them that were telling me that I needed to, that I couldn't keep doing this. And, they would, if they had any kind of integrity, they would have to say yes, that they were. There was a lot of people.
Pink West said, I always admire Sean for trying to make it work. Colleen said, empaths. I believe that.
We talked about that tonight.
That was kind of where the conversation went. We talked about what happens, not morbidly, but when you pass away, is it lights out? What do you believe happens? And that's kind of how.
Where does your energy go? Do you believe it's over? Or, do you believe that you go on to the next thing? And I talked about how, and my mother and I have, here we're going to go down a little weird hole here. But my mother and I both believe in the age of, souls have an age, and that we come back again and again, not reincarnation, but our souls, it's different. But like you come back into this life to learn certain things, and then and what people commonly say about me is that I have a certain empathy for things, deeper than most people do.
What did she call it? She said you have a knowing.
A knowing.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I said I don't know about the knowing, but people have said that I have an empathy, and it's most people that study pathologies and things like that will say that empathic people have a tendency to get into relationships with narcissistic people and stick with it.
That's interesting.
Longer than most people would.
That's what that one special, that doctor that talks about narcissism says. He says that it's a cycle of trying to love someone well, or figure out what makes, not like what to make them happy, like in terms of like material things, but what they can offer them spiritually to make them well.
An empathic person, or it doesn't mean you're an empath, but like an ultra sensitive person, I think that I am. It just means that, you feel it's energy centric. Whatever the energy is, you kind of go with it, and you want to fix the energy. You want to
That's what I meant,
smooth the energy out all the time. And yeah, I don't like people when they fight. I don't have to be part of it, but I wish they wouldn't. And sometimes if you have some kind of commitment or an affinity to something, you try to smooth it out, even when you know you can't.
Yeah, that's very. Black Dragonfly said she believes that her late love is near her, checks in on her.
Yes. And because my father kind of believes that, like, when he's done, when he passes away, that he's kind of just done and it's lights out. And I said to him, there's no way in the world that you can make me believe that when you're gone, or when with Mandi, something tragically happens to her, that's it. Because I think too much of y'all.
Yeah.
So you exist. And I believe that there's an energy that is transferred upon this, death.
I'll let you read Hazel's things. Okay. They're interesting, but you need to read them to understand them. I could tell your dad kept looking at me like, for what I believe. I believe in heaven. I believe in hell. And I believe that there's an afterlife. I don't know about spirits, all that. What you're saying makes sense, and that would be great. It's more of an agnostic way of thinking, I guess, because I can't support why I believe what I believe or give explanations. Like, Sean's very articulate explaining what he believes and how he believes. I can't do that. I just believe that that there's a heaven and a hell. I can't believe that Hitler is in heaven. So there's certain, denominations and things within the Christian religion that believes if you accept Jesus is the Son of God, and that's how you get to heaven.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe, because Hitler, part of what he was doing, he thought he was doing something very Christ-like, which was to perpetuate
genocide,
right. And I cannot believe that he's in heaven. I can't believe that. So what I choose to do instead is I don't focus on the whys and the hows and all that. I like discussing it, but I just accept that it is.
I think in one of the Black Dragonfly, first off, he is near you, and that's what I mean. When your other half leaves this plane of existence, that's not it.
No.
And I refuse to believe that. And his energy is there with you.
Yeah.
I would believe that is true. Hazel, I'm reading what you're saying, and you're an empath, and he was a narcissist, and you tried,
right.
And it's almost like an addiction. I called it a trauma bond, and the last time I said trauma bond, a few people argued with me, and one person said that if you weren't in actual trauma, you can't be trauma bonded, and I you can, and it's the trauma bond that you can have, especially an empath and a narcissist. The narcissist feeds off you as supply, and you get bonded to all that of all the drama, and it becomes trauma. Some people don't believe it, but it's a bond, and it's like an addiction, and you got to break it. And I've said it before. It's almost like a drug addict that is knows. When they're going through withdrawal, they know that drug is bad for them and it's killing them, but they're withdrawing because they're so used to it that they know if they just go back and they just take a little bit of that drug one more time, just if you go back into that toxic relationship, it'll make things feel better just for a second. You just make the pain go away, make the loneliness, make the trauma bond, galvanize it. Even though the next time's going to get worse, the next withdrawal is going to get worse, and you still go back until you finally figure out a way to break it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You explained that to me like early on about that, and it makes sense. There's a bunch of the specialists, that's what they say too. Anna Morris is here. We haven't seen her in a while.
Hey, Anna.
Yeah, addicted to wanting to fix it. Make him love me, make it work.
But the bond, it's like, you know, a narcissist or a different kind of pathology will strip away so much of what you are, what you think you can be. And so when it's the water clears, you know, when it distills out, you want that. You want that energy because it's the only energy that you're allowed. So you crave the energy with that bond to that trauma and that toxicity because that's all that you are allowed to have, and that you're programmed to believe that's all the energy that you're going to get. So you're drawn to it,
Right.
and you got to break it. You got to
Sean
break that.
needs to watch Afterlife on Netflix.
I've heard that.
Can I just ask?
Is Afterlife the one with Ricky Gervais in it? Is that one?
Look.
Oh my God. Okay.
What in the heck?
Don't even.
No, but I'm curious about this. What? It's not Ricky Gervais, I don't think. I was looking for it, but I don't think that's...
What is it? Is Afterlife? I thought it was. It might be called something else. It was it had a similar name to it.
We'll find... Ew!
That's a bug.
Christine, are you here? It looks like it's like some sort of...
It's
I'm
a
interested.
bug.
Well, but look how big it is.
It's a big one.
I'd be curious to know what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I am so... Okay, so there is stitching. Have you seen that channel, the Clean Urine Stash? They go find these, I don't like the term lolcows because it's whatever, but they go find them on Facebook Lives and put it on YouTube because they're not on YouTube. Have you seen that channel? I'm going to see if Stitching's seen the channel. Hell, it may be Stitching. Stitching's, yeah, okay, so.
I'll look it up, though. I'll look it up,
Stitching.
Stitching.
Did you see the one where the girl was talking about May something, about getting off probation and that her boyfriend was behind bars and she was done with him? What, remember that one?
Yeah, it was something.
Not Mae West.
It's you sent me the link.
But that's where Heather Inman has now popped back up. They upload hers because she can't, since she decided to take a camera up in the
Mae Thomas.
Okay, took a camera up in the whatever. She got kicked off, but now she's on Facebook. Anyway, it's hilarious. You guys, if you're in, like, they go find the ones that, let me tell you, it's a vast internet out there of people that stream whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And this one,
I was looking for this channel on, like, this Mae Thomas chick on YouTube, and she's
not on there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, the big argument is, like, when they're like, you're obsessed with me, quit watching me. But isn't that really why people go live, to be watched? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, especially if you go live by yourself, you're going live to get for people to watch you.
Yeah, Clean Urine Stash.
Yeah,
that's
what it's called. And it's got a Mr. Clean.
So, yeah.
It's anyway, we were talking about spiritual stuff, and then we went into that, but I meant to mention that last time, and I forgot.
Yeah, Mandi was in the tub, and she told me about it. I was lying in the bed, and she sent me the link, and yeah. She
was like, and then she was, you guys, she was doing shots of tequila rose. How many of you have had tequila rose before? Once you've gotten drunk on tequila rose, or God forbid it came back up, you never want it again.
Yeah, my thing was, like, when I was watching, I didn't know that tequila rose is like a milky substance.
Oh,
so I was like, what is she mixing that with? And Mandi was like, that's the drink.
I still vividly remember the one time I got drunk off of it, and whoop.
And when you watch the video, she's like, she's dressed, and she's a big girl, but she's dressed like tightly, like she's like the clothes she has are clinging to her, and she's kind of like swiveling her body. She's talking about her husband, is it her husband or her soon-to-be ex-husband, or what is in jail?
And she looks like she might have had a gastric bypass. It looks like she's lost significant amount of weight and she might have some skin.
But it was like she was just
Tyler,
advertising herself, like, I'm going out tonight. She's drinking the tequila rose and all that.
Tyler Henry. Okay, so Tyler Henry is another one. She shows people how to shower. Very cool. Very cool. Everyone can use. Yeah, it tastes like strawberry Nesquik with a tang of like a hard alcohol. And at first,
so it doesn't really taste like tequila. If
it's cold, you can, do a few shots of it and it's good or whatever. But then it's like Jaeger. It hits you.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, it was Fort Riley, Kansas garage drinking when someone brought that out.
They brought that over.
Yeah.
You were like,
I didn't have a garage, Sean. I didn't have a garage. We were enlisted.
Yes, but
I went to someone's house that had a garage. We went to a gathering.
But you were down. You were like, I'll try that, right?
It was, we would go garage drinking, and any of you who've done garage drinking, it is absolutely a socially acceptable thing to do when you're in the military.
Oh yeah, we used to do it. Or you live at the beach, so we had a row of houses, and everybody, we rented this place on Grandview Drive in Sneads Ferry when we lived there.
Really, Pink Life. Go ahead.
And so everybody, and this was a condo where we lived in, but everyone that lived on the river there they all had these nice houses, but nobody went in them. Nobody would entertain in the house.
You would just go out on the beach?
We would just sit right in their driveways.
Yeah, because you don't want people, if someone's going to puke, you want it to be outside.
Yeah, but still,
Well, I might be a little bit less classy. You were beach drinking.
But it wasn't actually the beach, it was like the intercoastal. It was the
Is that where the hermit crabs ran around?
Sometimes. Yeah, there's hermit crabs.
You said they go eat the trash, right?
Well, the big old hermit crabs were where I worked. They would come straight from the ocean and come across.
Because they like to eat.
I'd be taking out the garbage. There'd be hermit crabs all around the dumpsters.
Tequila Rose and Mad Dog 2020.
Oh my God.
I didn't really know anything about Mad Dog, and I was at the shop at one time, and it said, Concord, whatever. And someone said, oh, that's like altar wine. That's what that is.
Lightning Creek.
And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, it's like altar wine, like that you would. So
Mandi was down.
I didn't know it was called, it was MD 2020. Mm-hmm. And people kept calling it Mad Dog. And I was like, Mad Dog? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, but that's not even what it stands for.
MD?
It's like consecrated wine that the priest is supposed to bless and water it down, and you drink it.
But
and
it's
then
not
they started
watered
doing
down,
no. Then they started doing flavors and all that kind of stuff. But
when I was drinking, it was like maybe 2 or 3 times that I drank Mad Dog, and it was because it was the only thing that was available.
Boone's Farm will get you pretty lit if that's all you have.
That's right there with Mad Dog.
It's because it's malt liquor, I think. Stitching says, talking about homemade moonshine. My friend in Virginia, my friend Autumn had a friend that would come down from West Virginia, and she would bring moonshine. And I remember people were like, you can't bring that onto post. Do you understand? If they check your car and you have that, it's bad, bad, bad. It was like, but why?
Yeah.
Don't bring it.
That was where? Fort Stewart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
old South. That's
but I would actually, when she started bringing it, that was my first stint of sobriety, where I was trying to go hang out but not drink, and it's not as much fun when you're not drinking and everybody else is in the garage.
So you would just kind of hang out and be like, hey, and just try to get into it.
Yeah, and she brought apple pie moonshine, and that's one of those times you can see you're sober, so you're seeing. And I tell you what, people went from partying to passed out. Mm-hmm. They say the thing about moonshine, though, is you will pass out most of the time before you die from alcohol poisoning.
So I have a question, if you choose to answer it. So you got sober, mm-hmm. You had a little bit of sobriety. What, and again, you don't have to, what, how do I say that? I just say it. What caused you to
because he retired and we moved home, and I had about, I guess 9 or 10 months, 8 or something like that. And I thought that I wasn't around the people that I drank around.
So you could just
we
drink
were more
again.
stable now.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I remember is thinking it was a good idea. And then I was at HEB buying wine, thinking this is just a bad idea.
Wine is what you were.
That's what I went that. And I was sitting. And the funny thing is, you go back and you say, "Okay, I'm going to do this again," and you go get the wine, but you don't just get one bottle. So you think you're going to control it, but your basket has 3 bottles in it. So
really,
and then it was only about. I started drinking in October again, and then I got sober in March. So
about
it was a pretty
another 5 months. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. It was like if I didn't start drinking by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then I would get shaky, and I didn't realize what it was from. And then I had a job. I was working at an allergy clinic, and I couldn't even make it through the day.
Yeah, you'd have to
I didn't drink at work. No, but I just quit because I needed to.
You needed to start drinking earlier or whatever.
Right. And then I was like, well, this didn't work out so well. And I was like, but that's the first time I'd ever gone to rehab. I had used to quit. I would get a month or whatever, and then I would, when we were in Virginia, I would go back to it. But this is the first time I had gotten any significant period of time together.
So like,
and it's just
when you quit a job like that, you just make up a reason to quit. Is that normally what it is, or you just?
I told him I was going to rehab.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, that'd be one reason.
I said, I was like, I had intended, like said I was going to rehab, but for the last week I was at home drinking. And then they had said I, could come back and it was just alcohol at this point. That wasn't I hadn't started pills yet. No.
The second love of your life.
No.
Which was
But when I went to rehab, I was combining Xanax with alcohol.
Wow.
And that seemed to be the combination that I just couldn't get off of it on my own. Like that one was the one where you start anyway. So then that was the last time I ever drank, was March 1st, 2012 is my last drink. Yeah, it's just not my sobriety date because I'll find other things.
But it's the last time you had alcohol. Mm-hmm. That's over 10 years ago now.
Yeah. It was 10 years in March, right?
Yeah, March 1st. Yeah.
Thank you, Pink Life.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool.
And when people say that it's just as bad as you remembered it, if not worse, it doesn't matter whether you've got a year of sobriety or you've got 25 years. A lot of people will go back, take a drink after 20 so years of sobriety, thinking that somehow they've set the clock back. Mm-hmm. So it'll be like when they first started drinking as a teenager, where it doesn't have to be all the time and it's whatever. It picks up right where it left off. Like really? You never even quit.
Wow. Like that, I mean, the addiction isn't that advanced. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like you start over by drinking a beer or two.
People think you can set the clock back. And sometimes people do for a while. But eventually it's just as bad as it ever was. They always say when you're in a meeting, your disease is doing push-ups in the parking lot.
Like getting ready for you to come
out? Well, like it's just, you're in a meeting and your disease is always getting stronger and stronger. So you got basically stay away from it because it's not going to get any better.
It's not going to go away.
It doesn't get any better. I always tell people that, awesome, 8 years from addiction to pain meds and Xanax. That's a hell of a combination. That's the one that puts people in the ground. Good on you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. My weakness is Xanax. Yeah, I'm reading it.
And they used to prescribe, before they changed the laws over, I would say the last 6 or 7 years or so, you could get a doctor that would prescribe pain meds and benzos together. They're not allowed to prescribe them concurrently anymore.
I'm telling you.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You cannot take them both.
Yep. When we would leave, not any kind of positive or negative testimonial for anything or anybody, but when we were living in Rhode Island, she could go to the doctor. And, one of the things about her marrying me was she had this really good insurance now, not just this red, whatever she had.
Yeah, because her take on it is you would take her to get the medications and then you would take them from her.
Well, she could go to the doctor and she could have literally a little,
It's amazing.
Yeah, she would have like Xanax and Adderall and like Oxy all in the same time, all at the same time.
Crazy.
You know, all at the same visit. And I'm not talking about like she would go like every week. It'd be like once a month she would go, or once, and it would
crazy.
It was crazy amounts of.
Yeah, now
stuff.
with the laws, they won't keep you on Xanax long term, and you can't get on like Ativan long term. And that's the kicker when she's like, I've been Xanax free for it, not because she wanted to. You can't be on it for. It's not a maintenance medication anymore. The laws
talking about Xanax, you mean?
Yeah, it's not Adderall. You can, because it's quick in, quick out. And it helps ADHD.
But Ativan,
benzos are not meant to be taken long term, and they never were.
And Ativan though is very addictive because of how quickly it works, and I've told this story before, but so when I was getting prescribed anti-anxiety medicines and stuff like that, they would give me Ativan, and Ativan were those little white pills, and they would even a little bit of moisture, and they would break down into powder. So something happened with my Ativan, and it dissolved. So I had this little, like, instead of this little bottle of pills, it was this little bottle of powder. That's all it was. And so I was just taking it like on my little pinky. And I didn't know how much, it was, because I was just taking it on my pinky. And, it worked. I felt good. I had but I went back to the doctor, and he was like, you took like 30 days worth in about 9 or 10 days. So I'm not giving you any more. And I don't remember ever like feeling like withdrawing off of it, but I knew it sucked that he wouldn't give me anymore.
Yeah.
But it was probably the best thing.
Benzos are alcohol in a pill. People don't realize that. It affects the same exact place in your brain as alcohol does. That's just, they made a synthetic alcohol. Hazel said that her doctor went to prison now.
Wow.
So many deaths, and it was horrible. West Virginia is known for addiction and pill mills, and back then. That's where Purdue launched its OxyContin campaign, was in that area for the people that had broken their bodies down to coal mining work and all of that kind of stuff. And they market it as non-addictive.
And when was that?
In the 90s,
right?
No, it was the early 90s.
And the thing is the first commercials that came out for it, it was like this miracle drug.
Right.
It healed everything.
Yeah.
And they're saying that the people that developed it knew the addiction though. They knew that it was going to be an epidemic.
I wanted to watch the movie because there's a movie about it. I can't if that movie just going to show piles of pills, and I can't watch that. That would It starts the fantasy, and it's not like, you guys know that have been on it. I remember sometimes like I would look up like Google images just to look at these piles of pills, like this whole like weird romantic,
like that. Or some.
Stitching says they're better long-term drugs instead of Xanax, and that's also true for pain. People don't want to admit it, and I know they've said for just post-surgical pain and malignancy, that's what those opioids are good for. They're not doing anything but treating addiction when they're treating chronic pain with it, instead of trying to find a different combination.
Yeah, I mean, you said before, we were talking about, there's a place for those types of medications, extreme pain, post-operative stuff, but it's not meant for pain management though.
No.
So. And
that's what they discovered, and people. But what happened was, when they just changed the laws and shut the doors in some of the Seattle pain clinics, they literally shut the doors to the pain clinics. And people are coming like, what the?
They're probably like zombies trying to get whatever.
Well, and then they all ended up downtown on heroin.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a healthy balance. I've got a relative right now she's young, and she's going through some pretty serious medical stuff, that she would be allowed, she's in recovery too, that she would be allowed to have those medications. And she said no, she doesn't want to unleash the beast. She would rather.
That's pretty good
what I mean?
though. I mean,
at the end of the day,
I mean, that's good. And of course it's good, but it's such an easy excuse, you know, when if you're going through some, you know.
Yeah, the Sacklers, is that the ones that launched OxyContin? I noticed this. Danny says the Sackler. Are they the ones that profited off of it? When I had my back surgery, they put me on morphine overnight. Within a couple of hours of waking up, I disconnected the drip. Good. And that's another problem is people will used to have knee surgeries and things, and they have a morphine drip while in the hospital for a week, and then they're done. They unhook their IV and they send them home, and they're in withdrawals.
Yeah.
They, you know, I mean, there's like.
And you can be in withdrawal just from like
Wow.
3 days, you know, like if you're have morphine for 3 days or whatever, right? It can.
Yeah. The honest to God truth is when I first, after being sober off alcohol, and I had torn like my calf muscle or whatever, and I was cautious, even though pills had never been my thing. I was cautious, and I started with hydrocodone, and they gave it to me for whatever time. I didn't know that there was a withdrawal. I had no idea that there was that opioids caused a withdrawal like heroin. I had no idea. So when I was out of them, probably took them too fast, I'm sure, and started getting sick. And I started doing the research, and it was like, yeah, you're sick because you're getting off of them. Mm-hmm. So then I went through a period where I didn't take them, and then I'm like, no, I'm in pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, my story is who went to prison.
They're talking about this at the end of the day's doctor went to prison too.
Wow. Mine. You guys have heard me talk. Mine was a much more benign drug. It was tramadol, but you know, so I didn't take it to get high. It wasn't something that made me feel. It took the edge off my anxiety, and that's what they gave me. They said, you've got a bad back. You can take this. You can take as much of it as you want, and it's not addictive. And then I needed help getting out of it, but I didn't need inpatient. You know, I was pretty lucky.
People don't realize tramadol has a withdrawal, and it's got a nasty withdrawal. And I was seeing what happened to my pain.
She's looking up her pain.
I want to see if mine went to jail.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though. He had all of these certificates on his wall. He was a big lobbyist for medicinal marijuana and marijuana for pain management. He said if the government would get its head out of its ass and let people use marijuana for pain, they wouldn't be dying. That was what he said.
But yet he was still writing those prescriptions.
Me and homeboy we were on a first name basis. And that homie, I'm not going to dox his name, but there's nothing inappropriate other than you shouldn't be on a first name basis with your doctor. But anyways, the worst withdrawal I saw was tramadol, and that's not to scare people, because it can be done, but that was the worst one I saw when I was in rehab, was tramadol. And like Sean was saying, unsuspected. You know what I mean? Like,
I was pretty pissed off when I was getting sick when, because you know, it's one thing if you are getting high, and then so you're withdrawing, so then you get high. You know what I mean? And you go and get it and you feel better. For me, it was like I didn't get high, but then I got sick if I didn't have it. That sucked.
The funniest, not funniest, but the most ironic thing when someone on like intervention called it getting well, like, which is getting your drug, you're getting well. But yeah, long after the effect of being able to clean your house and be the superwoman and do whatever, after that effect is long since worn off as the months go on, and you're doing it just to
get out of bed,
just to be okay. And then you're thinking you're maintaining, but you're nodding off in conversations and you think you're good. And like afterwards, like, when I found out, no, I would absolutely sit there and nod off in conversations.
And the thing is like...
And I'm not like her where she's like, he let me overdose. But it was...
Well, I mean,
it was nodding off in a conversation and not knowing.
That's somebody that's not ready to... It doesn't have the cognitive ability to... I don't need cognitive
accept
the right
responsibility.
word. Responsibility for her own actions. And that's another... pathology that's associated to narcissism. It's never their fault.
Never. My addiction was nobody's fault but mine. I don't even blame the pain doctor. They wanted me to turn him into the Texas Medical Board and stuff, and I was like, why? He didn't.
He didn't hold
He
a
was
gun
just,
to your head.
he's
and-
no
yeah.
different than a liquor store selling me the alcohol. That's
Yeah.
the responsibility is on me. I knew I didn't have any, but you know, I got on Suboxone after that, Danny, and that's hard to get off of too. I got off of it, so I used Kratom to get off.
Yeah,
of Suboxone. It's like one to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
But Suboxone was hell coming off of. It was like, it'll be 2 years in December, right?
Yes, Karen's
I didn't
going to
have any-
bed. Karen's been
I didn't
listening while
even
doing
see
stuff
Karen.
around the house, heading to bed. Love y'all. Good night.
Karen,
I know it's past.
Are
it's-
you making jelly tonight before you go to bed? Make jelly before you go to bed. That'll be less you have to do in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. Have a good
Danny
night.
says Suboxone's the absolute worst. It gets into your bones. It's gross.
And the thing with Suboxone is the acute withdrawals weren't as bad. I hit the wall in about a month. Wasn't it like a month, Sean?
Well,
It was about a month. I got the last one I took. I got my last prescription in December.
yeah, it was like Christmas Eve or something
2019.
like that. Christmas Eve. I thought it was.
I think it was
It was
Christmas
before
Day.
we-
I took the last.
It was before we moved.
And I didn't
before
have
we moved to
insurance.
Georgia, but-
I could have used the problem wasn't getting the prescription for cheap. Good RX and programs for that. It was not having TRICARE anymore from my ex. The appointment itself was going to be like $300, and I didn't. Red pepper jelly.
Hazel, Eric G's Vixen says, I loved Kratom. It got me through the worst of the withdrawals.
And I'm not anybody who's yeah, exactly. And that's the best thing is when you're finally free of it. Like when I walked out, when I went through the acute withdrawals of the Oxy and all of that, and I walked out and wasn't a slave to it anymore. I mean, I still had the post-acute withdrawals,
feeling.
but you walk out and you're like, I could literally go somewhere tonight and stay for 3 days and I don't have to have pills with me.
Yep. I do know that. I do know that feeling of being tied down because my little bottle of tramadol was kind of like my pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
I didn't need to take them like on a schedule like maybe like you had to do.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I didn't take a certain amount, over a certain amount of time, I would get sick.
Yeah.
But again, I say it pissed me off because I wasn't getting high. I was like, if I'm going to be addicted to something, I at least want it be worth it, And so that's what made me mad.
Yeah. It says, I feel the situation Sean was in bigger than he could deal with, and he was walking on eggshells, which is interesting because the opposite he's accused of, that person had to walk on eggshells.
I mean, for me, it was, I would try to do the things that I had to do to make, to keep the drama to a minimum, to not rock the boat. But when she says that she got all those pills and I took them, it wasn't like I made her, she would get all her prescriptions filled on, and they would be all over our house. They would be everywhere. There'd be bottles of Oxy and there'd be Vicodin and there'd be Xanax. And then I didn't dig the Adderall. So, I did, but there was a lot of things that and then other things that they tried like Seroquel and stuff like that. So there was just all over the place. It was like a refrigerator full of food.
Hey, Megan.
Hey, Megan, where you been?
She said her drug of choice is concert tickets. Tried getting Taylor Swift tickets.
Hey, that whole big deal that's going on, Megan. Were they really like $100,000 for these VIP tickets? It was something crazy.
For Taylor Swift?
Yeah, I think they're exaggerating, but they were like 20 grand, weren't they? Ticketmaster stuff. There was all kinds of things on Twitter how they were just like going after Ticketmaster and things like that.
Oh, I did see something on the news about that. Has anyone in here, tramadol, I don't feel anything from it. It did deal with pain. I've heard that it can, if you're opioid naive and you haven't jacked up your receptors doing other stuff, it can work. But
it does. But then, but you
curious
get addicted, your pain receptors stop working in the same way. So then they don't like to start working if they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't.
And that's what sucks.
44 people. I would love to talk to somebody sometime that's come off of methadone because I've heard it's rough, and I've never talk to anyone who
That's
has
why we
gotten off.
we gotta set up the.
Well, first I gotta find somebody.
We got to figure out something. You guys would do panels, right? If we came up with the topic, sometimes it's just going to be Sean and Mandy
at the
because
end
we
of the
do
day.
this. But like once or twice a week, if we came up with a topic and we had a panel, that would be fire, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with your knowledge and your experience, I think that it would be.
It would be a lot of fun.
I would just go in the other room and troll y'all while you did it,
But the other question, what is Sentinel? Someone said
What?
about Suboxone, and then they were like, and now they've introduced Sentinel.
Sounds too much like fentanyl
Hey,
to me.
Shelly. Yeah, I would like to talk to people, someone who's gotten, who has come off of methadone, and then always like, yeah, I think that it would be, my leg was falling asleep.
Is it better? Is it better right here?
Yeah, it's better right there.
If I'm rubbing your leg, is it you're going to be able to concentrate?
Yes. Yeah. She said, I know somebody who came off methadone and he said hey, Alex, he almost offed himself. That was my concern I was like, I can go through the withdrawals of the oxy and go through the hell of the physical things. But I was like, my brain makes me think things that are not good. And that's why I think the best place is to be in the safe of a thing, because your brain is like, anxiety is through the roof when you do it. That's the worst part. And the restless arms and leg. Oh my God.
You're bouncing around all the time.
Yeah, I remember when I would be like, especially if I had to make it a day before my prescription got filled or whatever. Yeah, once it sets in, I'd be walking lap all night because your legs and your arms.
Sometimes I sit around and I try to, because I've known Mandy I've known who she is for a while. I've been with her we're almost on 4 years here, about 3.5 years. I know her will and her mind when she sets her mind to do something. I still try to, I ask these questions, because I've tried to figure out how this wonderful woman could have, been, that's an addict like that. But what I do get is sometimes the way your mind gets.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm starting to understand when you get anxious how that is too, how that goes. But I'm telling you, if she starts formulating something that she wants with an addictive personality, she's going to figure it out.
And
she's going to figure out how to get it.
Right now, I've destroyed my mouth, I would assume, from cuties. You would think that I would stop eating them. But I don't.
Right.
And I buy 2 bags at a time.
And for me, I'm, sharing a bed with her and all that.
Right,
and she's trying to brush her teeth and she's like, God, it hurts and stuff. It's because you eat 14,000.
But I didn't even realize that.
But because I'm looking at it, objectively. But let's go buy 5 more bags.
She said that was resale. There were up to $1,000 for VIP. So that's a lot. Hey,
how
Sarah.
much? Just only 1,000?
And that's what she said. I had a girlfriend who was on Soma, Xanax, Oxycontin, and Perks. Oh my God, she drove around on all that. She passed away a few years ago. I'm sorry. And that was the thing too, I hate to say amounts because whatever, but I was on 360 30 milligram Roxy's a month. I would get 180 every 2 weeks.
That's
I shit you not. That's what I was on. And like, you get this prescription or whatever, and they know you're driving around. Like, that's the thing. It's like,
that's crazy.
It's like, okay, so, that little disclaimer that says, until you know how this affects you, don't operate heavy machinery.
But everybody
freak do you think
everybody that would come there to get their prescription was driving there. It's not like they had their own personal chauffeurs taking them.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. And now when I got pulled over for speeding, when I got the ticket a couple months ago, one of the questions they say is, have you been drinking? I'm like, no, you got the wrong one on that. And they said, are you on any medications? And I was like, just regular. And they said, nothing controlled. And I was like, no, nothing controlled.
Megan, yeah, that was resale. What I saw,
reselling it probably for $100,000.
That's what I mean. And so
Yes.
they had bot sites. So they had these like big troll
Yes.
Instagram accounts that, or was it Instagram or was it Twitter? And it was like this, and it was perpetrating
It
like it was a
used to.
person. And it was saying, I just got my Taylor Swift tickets for, and they'd say like 15,000, all VIPs, like it was normal. Do you want me to get you some? You know, and they have fake like people
Hoping
having
that a rich
Twitter.
person would.
Well, no, they would just have a whole Twitter conversation like it was 2 or 3 people.
Oh.
Yeah, score me one, you know, and okay, I'll get you one too. Go to this site, and it would direct you to this. And they were outrageously over, you know, reselling them.
That's crazy.
Or something like that.
Sarah
I didn't mean
said-
to step on that conversation.
No, you're good.
but-
What she said when she got on pain meds, they put me on a dose similar to yours, and I, on my own, told the doctor that no one needs that kind of pain medicine unless you're dying, and took myself down. There was a collection of people who were not in my pocket illegally, but so the pharmacist that worked at the HEB pharmacy where I got my fill, on the day I got the one from the doctor, I would get one for that day, which it would be time, and one for 2 weeks. Hey, Presley, one from 2 weeks from then. They would take the one for 2 weeks and put it on file at the pharmacy. And when I came the first day that it could be filled, I mean, I'm talking about sitting there waiting for them to lift the gate. You know what I'm talking about? Like the pharmacy gate. Like,
Wow.
and I'd be sitting there, and she knew it. A lovely lady. She lied to me. It was nothing. She would have mine ready. And I still remember to this day when I would be sitting there waiting, and she'd be like, Mandi, I have yours. And you try to play it cool. You know what I mean? Even though your nose is running and you're yawning and so you're trying to play, how is the kid? Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, thank you. You know, and then get into the car and crushing it up. And you know what I mean?
God.
Like, it's crazy. But now there's a responsibility. The pharmacist at this point, even if the doctor prescribed it, the pharmacist would have to turn it in. Even if there's a whole host of people that have to be okay with it. But at the time, you lay your path, and you know, everybody.
It used to be back like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, just the insurance you had. If you had the insurance.
And
Presley
insurance now will not pay for it like that.
Presley was hunting. Where were you hunting?
Oh, how
Presley.
fun.
Yeah.
Not our deer. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We got people eyeballing our
That's
deer.
cool,
and we're like,
though. We fattened them up, and now they're looking at our deer.
They're like, you guys fattened them up for us.
But you guys know how it is. It was like a night of hell. And I would have my, like, pack to get through that last night. Like, I would have, like, Zofran, clonidine for restless arms and legs, you know, Tylenol. I would have this stuff that when I had to make it through that last night or whatever, it would control some of the symptoms. Muscle relax. I mean, it was crazy the dance you have to do. And every time I got the fill, I would say, this time I'm going to control it. This time I'm going to. And it just never happened.
That's so interesting. You gals, there's 50 people in here, and I see like there's like 6 or 7 people all talking about their stories and stuff like that. You guys have got to.
I'm always
do
amazed
that.
at the number of people that are. Yeah, so I knew there was 80 milligrams one. You'll have to catch me up on that. The traffic. There's so many people that come out of the woodwork that have a similar story. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that, like, okay, so when I would get, what was I gonna say? My insurance. So I had TRICARE because my first husband had TRICARE too, because I'm an ID card chaser.
She's a dependent.
Do you know for 180 oxy, with the copay was $12, and I got those. So that's
for $12.
For $12. But then, until they change things, so they send you to detox. TRICARE pays for it. What is an opioid detox? In about $15,000 a day or something.
Wow.
Something, maybe 5. I don't know. Whatever they pay a day. And do you know you can walk straight out of that rehab and go? Not anymore, I don't think, but go fill the same damn prescription for the same fucking pills that they just paid you to go to rehab for. I was like, that doesn't make it. For $12, you can do it again. But like I said, nobody's responsible for my addiction but me. Not the pharmacist, not the insurance, not the doctor.
Yep.
I remember I never, because I had a gastric bypass, OxyContin wasn't an option because I didn't have like the stomach acid it took for it to slowly dissolve or whatever. It would just go straight through. So I didn't ever, I never took that, but it was supposedly when they marketed it, like y'all were saying, that it was marketed as non-addictive because of its slow release. But really, the addicts just chew it down, or
You can make it quick release.
well, they like people were talking about they would take a radiator washer, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That has and they would take and scrape it on that radiator thing to break down the, you know what?
What does that make it?
The one time I got the prescription, I was at fucking AutoZone buying.
Were you really?
I couldn't get it to do.
You're like, God
It's
damn
not
it.
even funny, but it is. I'm like,
But I mean, like,
I'm like, I
what's
need
that?
like one
Why?
of those.
To make it more intense? Is that just makes it more
Yeah,
intense?
because if the 80 milligrams is supposed to release over time. If you
You
break
get
it all
some
down and
bitches
take it
just take
right,
it
it's
one-
like,
oh yeah,
you
like
see
so
what I'm
like
saying?
when
Yeah.
you take it, like the little placebo part will dissolve and you'll get more. And
Yeah,
then,
supposedly there's like you'll feel the little. I'm not even gonna do it because I don't want people to. But I did. They were like, the internet said to use a radiator washer or whatever, and so I went in and tried to like get it and try. It just it's crazy.
Presley says they didn't get anything. They're going to go back out at 4 a.m. Don't wake us up.
That's probably a good time.
Yeah,
That's
I
the better
mean,
time, right?
Well, there's a lot of predators out then. I mean, like that's like I think about the chickens and I think
Night
about.
Stitching. Thank you for
Thanks for coming in,
participating.
Stitching.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we gotta between talking about this and finding the lolcows. I mean, you're like an MVP.
Yeah, Stitching is our cow
Yeah,
hunter.
I mean, you're the cow hunter. But like with the predators, especially when it's cold, in the winter, the food's more scarce, so they're on the prowl. I'm glad we can lock the chickens up, and I worry about them, but.
Cow hunter, yeah. It's just
4
cow
a.m.
hunter.
That's when you go. That's when all the predators are, the night, stalkers are finishing up. It's the coldest part of the night.
The deer are leaving the bar, right?
The deer are kind of like
they're a little tipsy, so
they're
that's
a little
the best
tipsy, and the
chance
does
you-
are looking at and they're like, ladies, my eyes are down here.
Who's the one that told
my
us?
rack is up here.
Who's the one that told us the bucks do it till they pass out? It was someone in this chat when I said how
Wasn't
many.
it like Berry Hot? Or
I think it
like
was
that?
Berry. Was
Yeah.
it Berry High?
They do it until they're exhausted.
Until they pass out.
They're like, oh my
Hey,
god!
Sherry.
It's like running sprints.
It
like
is
every
way
10,
past our bedtime.
It's like you run sprints and then you go, all right, wait 10
Right,
seconds.
Danny
and then
said,
you,
yeah, they do, right? They do it until they literally just like pass out.
Oh my god, dude!
So there's like an 8-point buck who'll be
They're
laying
just
like
laying
this,
there. That's
and
why
the
they
doe-
get. That's why they get shot.
And the doe's like, Katie's like, oh, you'll have to
my
give
God,
tomorrow.
man. Okay, look, you're number 19 from the day. Okay,
But that's why I said, how much
Can-
could they possibly store
can you
in
give
their?
a dude a break?
How
I
many
mean,
reserves do they have in there that they can just like knock out?
But then apparently they only do it in
I know.
November, so they only have like a few days to do it all.
That's what I'm saying. And I was like, what do they do the rest of the year? Go to the gym and tan and
Oh
get
my
ready
God.
for. They're like, it's the rut's coming up. Oh
He's
yeah.
like, oh my god.
Leisure suits. Who's gonna wear a leisure suit? No. I'm gonna wear my satin shirt the first day of the rut. What are you gonna wear the first day of the rut? Oh, I think I'm gonna wear my blazer.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what you got? He's like, well, I still got the kids.
And the does are like, I already got 3 son of bitches from the
I
one
know,
from
these ones won't leave.
He's like, I got 3 of his kids here.
He's like, what? There's that some bitch. Look at the kid. Kids comes up, Mom, can I have $5?
And they're like, there's your dad right there. And they're like, I'm gonna take you to court. You start, and then he's off running.
Where's that trailer with the chickens? They feed us corn and stuff.
Remember when you were like with the feral cats? You're like, when we called the Sean kitty, it was like when he would come up and he'd be like, those 3 are those 3 mine?
Okay,
I'm going to the beach.
I'm gonna head out. Oh my goodness.
We had all the feral cats, their personalities at his mom's house. Good night. We're gonna go to bed too.
Yeah, we are too. We're getting silly.
But it was true.
You guys, thanks for waiting.
I
We
know.
lost track of time, and then we went on about 2 hours later or an hour later than we said we would. You guys were still here for it, and we appreciate that. It was fun.
It was
Mandy, girls, you guys, you got money.
Oh, Presley, thank you. No, we did. Presley, thank you.
This time it's for the deer. We're gonna get.
You're so awesome. Thank you.
We love you, girl. Hey, good luck out there.
Yeah, for sure. If you get an 8 point, honestly, the thing that made me decide to get sober is that my daughter was graduating from high school. I didn't have enough pills that I wouldn't be horribly sick at her graduation. And I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I saw the writing on the wall that the laws were about to change. And I was fed up with being terrified of withdrawing. It was a 18-month cycle every single month, and I was fed up with it. So I called her in and said, this is the deal. And she said, I'd rather you go inpatient than, because I wasn't going to be able to go to the grad. I would be too sick. So and that's sometimes they talk about rock bottom, like, well, is this her rock bottom? She's, whoever it is, not me, but like, whoever the example is, crying and don't have a place to live. And that doesn't always have to be someone's rock bottom. Sometimes it's just you get so fucking sick of the sick dance. You're just sick of it. You can't do it anymore. So
sometimes you don't need to get like DUIs or hurt somebody or kill somebody or lose your family or lose your job, and stuff like that. But
you get freaking tired of just being terrified of withdrawing. Just that fear grips you. And anytime you talk to someone who's been an opioid addict and you go, well, the withdrawals, they all get goosebumps. Anybody who's gone through them knows how bad they are. And that's what, now off alcohol, that was kind of the thing too.
It's a little different though.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Guys,
Sarah,
you guys got to tell her, you guys got to get together and just panel up and talk about your journeys and everything. I will sit to the side and watch. I mean, maybe I'll be like the interviewer or whatever, but I am amazed. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I'm so glad she got healthy, and found me. It couldn't have, it could have been very different. I could still be sitting, in some.
And when you become a statistic, that's what I used to think about when I would be so strung out and laying on the closet floor. I'm like, oh my God, Presley. Thank you.
I can't see that far. I'll have to look at later.
Thank you, for real. Oh my God, thank you. Anyways,
do we get to go out for breakfast now?
No, we have to eat the eggs we collected.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And you can talk about your being you'd be like, where are our tramadol junkies?
I know. They'll be like, what? Tramadol? She says it's the worst withdrawal she's ever seen. It's shit. Like, anyway. But still, it's not as glamorous.
And I'm not as good at articulating, but there's a reason he made it through Iraq and he made it through that.
And there's a reason. I'm only half like joking about this. There's a reason that Mrs. ATX started watching the drama community. And you know
why I did it? I had just gotten sober.
Yeah.
And
so
I was doing makeup
right?
as a hobby. I had started doing makeup. And you know what, Presley? There sure is that white one. The black one is now named Presley. The black silky.
Okay. Well,
she's a hen.
That's the gal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Presley. We haven't named the white one or the black silky. The white.
She's a little mouthy though, Presley.
Hey, Candy Rain.
She squawks a lot. So
but the white one squawks more.
Yeah, the white one.
I think we should call it the major, the little black one, the white one that's constantly stomping around.
We call him. Well, the white one's got.
Or Lieutenant, we could name.
We call him that. Yeah.
He's the one that. See, he's saying the same thing that that her hubby's friend at work went through tramadol withdrawal, and because of Sean and his kratom, I remake. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's why we're here, guys. It's.
Yes, the black silky hen is from here on out known as Presley. Oh, name it the Beast. That would be funny.
Oh my God.
It's all. Oh, I did hear it was stomping around saying that Sean didn't feed him the right food. Didn't feed him. That Sean didn't clean the coop right. Maybe I should name it the Beast.
I mean, Sarah, that means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, when kratom is what it is. You got to be careful with it. But to hear that somebody, heard me or they took a recommendation and it helped them get healthy or something like that, that's everything. I mean, that means a lot.
Yeah.
It does.
You ready?
Kind of tired. Y'all tired?
I didn't ready to get off. Not.
Yeah. Well. All right. Let me go drink a Red Bull. Let's go, baby.
Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Sean's off tomorrow, so we will be there tomorrow. Thank you. I am. I've come a long way. It's one of those things that when people say, they like to point out each other's. I've come a long way. I'm not anywhere where I want to be, but I don't think that anybody's ever. If you're exactly where you want to be, you're never improving. At the end of the day, can you OD on kratom? And this is a fact. This is an interesting fact. The short answer is no, but they have found people that have died that had kratom in their system, and they died. The kratom was mixed with tramadol. Really? Yes. They've never found I didn't know that. Or they had to attribute it to something. I mean, it's like if somebody's got kratom in their system, but they are OD'd and it's heroin, they're going to blame the heroin. Yeah. They're going to blame the fentanyl. They're going to blame whatever it is. But there's been a couple of times where, before I make that my final statement, I'll go back and research it. But I remember when I was taking kratom, and it was like, what is can you OD? I asked that question, and the short answer was no. Nobody's ever died from just acute kratom withdrawal. Yeah. Like they took too much at a time. But people that have been passed away and they did toxicology reports had both tramadol and kratom in their system at the same time. And that kind of made me go, whoa. Yeah, no, yeah. But it's been a long time since I've been on tramadol. I didn't take tramadol and kratom at the same time. Doctors don't recognize kratom as even something that you have to get off of. They don't. It's not something that the FDA or that has a rating on. So it's not something that insurance can come around and pay for. Yeah. So there's that. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Sawyer's yeah. Sawyer's hell yes. He went and saw Grandma and Grandpa tonight, so he got lots of carrots. You want to go to bed, Sawyer Brown? You go night-night? You want to go to bed, Sawyer Brown? You go night-night? Sawyer Brown. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you, Presley. Thank you for everyone for being